Hello and welcome back to the 39th episode of my still unnamed survival series. In the last episode, we added a few redstone gizmos to this world, and today we're going to be adding a little bit more. We are going to continue the work on our storage system. And today we are going to be working on the sorting system. This redstone contraption is going to move the items to their specific modules and specific places. One of the most important pieces of this system. We need to build our sorting system, but that system also has to connect up somehow with this machine right here. We basically need to have this backdropper shoot items directly into our sorting system. And since our dropper is already facing the back wall, I think that is where we are going to build our sorting system. I'm keeping the sorting modules one block away for now, just for ease when we put the water lines in. These sorting modules are also going to have some auto droppers on the bottom, so I'm just going to go ahead and add the comparators and droppers for those, along with the sticky pistons and the observers. And perfect, we have all of these auto droppers in place, and now before we build anything else, I think I'm going to map out the water lines, where I want the next modules to sit, and how all of this is just gonna fit together. After having a not so quick think about this entire area, I think all of these are in the wrong place. I think we're gonna move this sorting system down along this wall. That's going to give us more room to sort more items, and I think make this system overall a little bit easier to build. Our path is right down the middle, so in theory we could put sorting systems on both sides of this, and it would still work out just about the same. Now that the auto droppers have been moved to the right place, I'm going to add the sorting system to the top. One little module is able to sort one item. The sorting system that I am going to be building today is your basic bedrock waterline sorting system. It is tileable, but for our needs, I don't think that it needs to be. So if you want to build something similar, just Google bedrock waterline sorting system and you'll probably get a design pretty close to this one. The frame of this sorting system is pretty much built, and before I add in the redstone, I am going to build up the ice path at the top. This is where all of our items are going to be flowing in front of the sorting system, and then they get plucked from a water line. Now that the top is done, I think it's about time that we start placing in our redstone components. I've already put the pistons in place, and now I'm making room for all the redstone components that go on the top of this frame, like the redstone repeaters and the redstone comparators. Then we're going to connect it all up using this redstone dust. For all practical purposes, the mechanisms behind the sorting system is pretty much completed. And now that all the redstone is out of the way, we are going to lay down the glass and ice paths for the water lines. I always try and make my little tubes out of glass or something see-through just so I can see what's going on inside of my redstone contraptions. The sorting system is completely done, but I think before we move on to the next stages of this build, I'm going to go to a creative testing world and test out some mechanics. See, I've built this sorter before, and it doesn't like sorting stacks at a time. So if this machine here starts spitting out a bunch of items, that might be more than this sorter can handle. So I need to make sure that this system can actually handle everything we're throwing inside of it. See, hoppers have a loading speed, and if we're throwing more items in than these hoppers can handle, that's basically going to break the system, and it's not going to filter out everything that we need it to. This mechanism here should only put out items that the hopper speed can handle, but we also have 2 input chests. So in theory, we're doubling the item input. But we might be able to fix that by throwing in a third sorting system for every single item, but that's exactly what I want to test. So here we are in the mock-up creative testing world, and I'm going to fill this sorting system with 2 rows of cobblestone. This dropper is going to drop these items at the rate that the hopper can push them into the dropper. So this is the minimum speed in which our sorting system needs to be able to collect items. And as you can see here, we have items making their way to the second and third droppers, or the second and third modules of this storage system. This means we need at a minimum 3 modules per item that we're trying to sort, or else we're going to overload our system and not collect everything that we want to. And now that we've given this a pretty good test in a creative world, we can bring this back to our survival storage system, because now we know we need 3 modules per item we're trying to sort. So now we have to make a few alterations to our storage system. These are the changes that I am making to our sorting system. I'm basically just adding another module right in between a few of these so we can keep them in threes. Each little section of 3 is going to sort out one single item. This way we know for certain we're not going to lose any items whatsoever in this sorting system. And this is what our sorting system looks like now. I haven't finished it all the way down just because I'm kind of running out of redstone components and redstone resources. So we're going to hold off for those until I know exactly what I'm sorting. Now that we've added this colossal sorting system, I think that it's about time we go up top and figure out another building. I would like to figure out what I'm going to do with this area as well, and kind of solidify the floor plan of where a few of the buildings are going to go. So let's go up and take a look. So I'm thinking that we just remove this little section here. I don't think this is going to work with what I want to do. I want to create a path from this dock all the way into our little storage system area, and this is just kind of in the way. We might do some decoration around back here and to the back side, might put some more shops, but I would like to keep this little middle section pretty clear. I have a bit of a better plan in my head now, so I think I'm going to go ahead and build our next little shack. This second shop is going to differ a little bit from our first one. The only commonality that all of these shops are going to have is a storefront. Most of them are going to have a little table in the front that stores our chest, and some of them won't. But now I think we should build this in a time lapse. And now that our newest shop is completely built, I'm gonna terraform the area around it. Get this whole area looking nice, green, and overall just a very pretty sight. There wasn't that much to terraform, but now that it's all done and out of the way, we need to make room for all of our redstone components. So I'm gonna put 3 holes right underneath these chests, and these are where our item elevators are gonna go. And now let's make room for all 3. Perfect. Now we have all 3 of our holes lined up to the top of the world. Now we have to arrange our redstone to connect to the top. And we're going to use the 3 holes at the top to mark out where we need to go and where we need to build. And I think the first step to take in assembling these redstone machines is just put in our dropper tower. There's got to be one here by the time we finish anyway, and this part is something that we can't really work around. It's got to be here. That takes a little bit more than I thought it would. Right, so we've got all 3 of the dropper tubes in now. But I need some room for redstone, so I'm going to pop out the top behind this little table and give myself some building area for the redstone components. Now that we have all the room in the world around our dropper tubes, I think we should get started on the timing for these dropper tubes. To get this started, we are going to be building the hopper sensor / redstone clock down at the base of our dropper tubes. This is a fairly complex system that uses a comparator to notice any change in the dispenser or hopper. And once that change is noticed, it sends a pulse out and up this redstone torch tower. Each time this torch turns off and on, it activates the dropper that it's next to and above. This allows each dropper to push the item that's inside of it to the next one in the sequence. That sequence repeats until all items have made it to the top. Or at least that's how it should be working, and this is not. You might be able to tell I've redesigned this a couple times down here. I've been trying to figure out what could be going wrong with it and how I can fix it, but alas, I haven't figured out anything with this system. Basically, what's going on is halfway through the dropper tube, the items just stop going up. My first thought was I missed a torch, but I couldn't have missed a torch on the exact same level on all 3 systems. My next thought was maybe I'm just out of range of the items and they aren't rendering in. Well, that's not the case either because it stops at about 12 blocks up. All my repeaters are set to the right timing, everything is built perfectly, but it's just not working. I spent a couple hours trying to figure out what is wrong with this system, and I haven't figured out anything. The closest thing I can come up with to an answer is a potential difference in speed between the way a dispenser works and the way a redstone torch works. And I think after 12 blocks of pulsing, they just become unsequenced. And I'm not entirely sure how to fix that. And instead of trying to fix this system, I think we're gonna opt for the slightly more stable, slightly easier to build, but way more expensive version of the dropper elevator. Honestly, there's only a few reasons why you wouldn't build this version of the system. I'm gonna be building quite a few of these, so the resource intensity is gonna be quite high. And that is truthfully the only reason why I didn't build this system in the first place. These are a very resource intensive block. Since I had to change the basic redstone for the item elevator, the top redstone has changed as well. The observers are going to power this back dirt, then power the repeater, which powers the top two droppers. Overall, it's just a smidge simpler and a little bit easier to hide. I've also had to change up the redstone down here as well. My first thought was to just connect up the bottom with another observer, but that just created a constant ticking pulse, which isn't what I wanted. That's not very lag friendly. So I've had to rearrange the way we read the signal from this bottom dropper, and now only sends out 2 pulses instead of a repeating pulse. And once I get all 3 of these towers hooked up, we're gonna go back up to the top and cover up all the redstone. Wonderful, our dropper towers are working perfectly fine. We're still having a little bit of an issue with this left one. It's bringing up all the items, but one is being left in the underside dropper and not in the actual chest, which is kind of weird. They're exactly the same, so I don't know exactly why it's doing that, but I'm satisfied. I can live with that. It's up at the surface, we don't need to go underneath anything to grab our items, so we're gonna call that done. And now we're gonna go back underground and build the next machine in the system. And the next machine on our list is a shulker box loader, and for this we're going to need to funnel all the items from one module of sorters into one dropper. One module of sorters goes to one shulker box loader, and then one loader goes into one item elevator. To move the items around before they get to the shulker box loader, we're still going to be using water lines and water elevators. We do need to lift the items up just a little bit to make it to the top of the machine. After I encase this with glass, we're going to put in the water lines and then add our item elevator. This little elevator is going to bring us just high enough to input the items right into our shulker box loader. Before we put in the water for our item elevator, we're going to put in the hopper that leads to our dropper. This way everything is already connected to the machine once we're done building it. We've got the dropper and our hopper in place, and now we're gonna just treat this like an assembly line and place everything all at once. Moving down the line, placing one thing at a time and building them all up together. This way I can be 100% sure that they are identical and will work when they're all finished. Some of these blocks are directional, so I have to build up a little frame so I can place them in the proper direction. A lot of these will be removed later on because that's exactly what they are, is something to place a block up against. Once it's all said and done, the redstone for this system isn't actually all that complex. It's just a little tedious to build. There aren't very many redstone components, there isn't that much redstone dust, you just have to make sure it all happens at the proper time. And that's the tricky part. And now we're going into the final little details of this shulker box loader. We need to connect the redstone to these redstone torches and to the tops of these pistons. That's going to activate our crusher, and we're going to do that on the tops of all 3. And then after that, we're going to connect up all of our little subsystems, and for that I'm going to use an observer facing our dropper, which is going to be connected using some redstone dust. And finally adding this redstone block to the side so our comparator system will work exactly as designed. We're going to do this on all 3 of them, and with that, our system should work. And now that we have our water lines connected and our bubble columns activated, I think it's about time that we actually connect everything up. See, we don't actually have these sorters connected to anything. Our shulker box unloader is just floating there, not hooked up to much. So I'm gonna give us a little spot to put our shulker box input and then connect it all. Honestly, connecting up water lines is pretty simple, pretty easy stuff. So I'm just gonna put this in a very fast time lapse. And just like that, all of our systems are connected. We could potentially have a working item sorter. Granted, this is a very complicated sorter and a lot can go wrong, but I think it's about time that we actually give it a test run. So let's check out what we're sorting. I've put together 3 shulker boxes filled with andesite, granite, and diorite. These are the 3 items that we are going to be sorting in this system. I've also got a couple stacks of those in my inventory as well. See, this system doesn't just need to take things out of shulker boxes to work. We can input normal items as well. So we're gonna test this system out while it's doing both. See if it can handle everything we put in and unload all the shulker boxes at the same time. The shulker box unloader itself is a little slow, which has positives and negatives. It limits the system, so the chances of overloading the system are pretty slim. Downside, it does take a while. But now that everything's been loaded inside the machine, let's watch it work. It looks like all the items from every direction are going straight up into this item elevator, which is perfect. This is exactly what we want. We want a no-loss system. I was kind of worried about some stuff falling out of this or glitching out the sides, but it doesn't look like that's happening. It also appears as though our item sorters are picking up everything. We don't have any items on the top layer of this or on the floor in front of it, which is perfect. That means our collection system is actually collecting. The last place that I want to check is our shulker boxes. And we're getting items inside of our shulker boxes, so this is actually working too. And now that we can see that our systems appear to be working, I'm going to go ahead and wait down here until it's all finished and then go up top and check if it worked. Okay, this system runs kind of painfully slow. It's been about a half an hour and I've gone through 3 shulker boxes. But now we're going to make our way up to the top, see if our shulker boxes actually made it to the top, and then see if it filled the shulker boxes with the correct item. Whew, moment of truth. Hey, that looks pretty good. There's actually a shulker box in there. Oh, that one has one too. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not expect this to actually work, let alone the first try. Oh my gosh, this actually worked. I can't believe that actually worked. It works. It actually works. Before I actually forget to do this, I'm gonna label my item sorter so I know exactly what they're sorting, where the items go to, and what items I've already done. This is a little thing that I really gotta remember to do. It'll make it easier on myself in the future. I'm also gonna do this up at the top so I can clearly see what these have in it as well. Well, we have accomplished a lot in today's episode. Way more than I thought we would. We have a fully functioning item sorting system, and it brings it up to the overworld. This is actually incredible. I didn't think that all of these systems would work the first time, let alone work together. I'm speechless. This is honestly so exciting, but we have a lot more work to do before it's actually complete. But we're gonna have to do that in another episode because unfortunately we are out of time. I hope you liked today's episode, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, a comment, maybe even share the video. But for now, my name is Red Skies, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you. I really appreciate it. And we had something kind of interesting in this episode. I put in some music that I wrote, and I'm kind of curious if you guys can tell which one it was. So if you think you know, leave the timestamp down in the comments below. And as always, if you have any tips or tricks for using DaVinci Resolve or video editing in general, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your opinions.